Manchester City then 3-0 winners over Everton at the Etihad. Janusz Michallik with us to break it down. Janusz, your thoughts on a game where Manchester City really dominated, not just on the scoreboard, but possession as well. Nearly 80% possession for Pep Guardiola's men.
Yeah, easy day at the office, right? I mean, you watch the first 15, 20 minutes, and I started to remember when I was a player and you play against such good opposition, right? And just chasing the ball. It's almost as if Manchester City were sedating Everton and just preparing them like a fine meal where you knew it was coming, you just didn't know when. And it did came, and in some way, really, just before halftime. Because, Cancelo's ball with the outside of his foot and that one-touch finish by Raheem Sterling, was incredible. And you knew the game was done. And really, without breaking a sweat, this was, Manchester City, the champions. And we've seen glimpses of their greatness. I'm not saying that today was the day, but, it looked so easy that I felt for Everton and Rafa Benitez.
One individual performance, Janusz, maybe worth discussing, Raheem Sterling. He's a guy who there's constant questions about. Do Manchester City need this player anymore? He looked pretty good today, and that goal in the 44th minute just before halftime, a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I think he's not the only one. I think Pep Guardiola has a way of challenging their players, right? He knows how good this squad is. He knows that every game he has to put a great player on the bench. And, even when they're at their best, I think that's when the challenge comes in. We've seen that with Bernardo Silva, who a couple of years ago was, unplayable, right? Last season was a bit off for him. And there was even talk about Bernardo Silva wanting to leave. And look where he is right now. Again, back at his best as well. We've seen other players on that team. Gabriel Jesus was frozen out. Now all of a sudden he's first player on the in the starting 11. Today he was rested. Ruben Dias was rested as well because of probably the Paris Saint-Germain game coming up first against second in the Champions League. So I think same goes for Sterling. Riyad Mahrez, another player that comes to mind that was playing for a long time and now finds himself on the bench. I think that's Pep's way of challenging all his players, saying if you're playing well, you will be playing. If you drop off even just a tiny little bit, you're going to go to the bench.
You mentioned Janusz, Rafa Benitez. That's now 6 Premier League games without a win for Everton. What's happened to this team who got off to such a great start?
Well, you do have to talk about the injuries, right? There's significant cover. Lou and Richarlison was missing a little bit. Abdoulaye Dakour didn't play today. And a number of other players that for a team like Everton are important. But, that's a bit of an excuse, but not everything. I always felt, remember, he's a Liverpool man coming in. And it's easy for me to say that now, but I have. They've had a great season, which has helped them. I think there's going to be questions about that now, because let's not forget, Everton has spent a lot of money over the years, right? This is a team that shouldn't be sitting in 11th place. And, even today, I look at this game and say to myself, Richarlison gets himself suspended, right? 5 yellow cards. He won't be there against Brentford. You look at Gray, who gets injured in the 15th minute. So it makes you wonder what's going to happen next week, where he really is going to be missing half his team. So, yes, it's trouble time for Rafa Benitez. It was always going to come. For as long as the results were there, nobody was going to talk about, his links to Liverpool. The moment you go on a run, like you just mentioned, if that continues, that's not good news for Rafa Benitez. Let's not forget, they're out of the League Cup, right, to QPR on penalties. So that doesn't help.
And a really rough stretch of games coming up for Everton as well ahead of the holiday break. Everton then, as you mentioned, top of the bottom half of the table. Meanwhile, Manchester City goes second after they win 3-0 at home.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.